Dear friends, welcome to Alpha Physio Pelvic Care, all things pelvic health and beyond. My name is Anastasia Varva and I'm a pelvic floor physiotherapist here in very sunny and hot Cyprus right now in the summer. I treat everyone with pelvic floor, both male and female. I also work online and I have been in the profession for over 10 years. And today, not how-to video, but today I'm actually going to share my personal story on how I became pelvic floor physiotherapist. This is just to share with you and to show who I am professionally, and also to highlight how important pelvic floor physiotherapy is. I have qualified as a physiotherapist generally from University of Bradford, UK, got my diploma, came over to Cyprus and found my first job in musculoskeletal physiotherapy. And this is quite classic for many physiotherapists. In the university, I was not sure what exactly I would like to do. I really liked the musculoskeletal part. Then I changed my job and I found more permanent position, as well as I started to learn to become clinical Pilates instructor. All that was before I had children. Just a small note. I was enjoying teaching both Pilates and doing rehabilitation physiotherapy, hands, knees, shoulders, back operations, and all sort of things you do as a musculoskeletal physiotherapist. I really loved it and I had no thinking whatsoever on going into pelvic floor physiotherapy. In fact, I had no idea that it existed and I had no idea that it happens. Before I had children, at some point I did learn about pelvic floor physiotherapy. I'm not sure who was it, maybe another fellow physiotherapist told me. Anyway, I kind of heard about it and I really thought that what a boring stuff, I don't want to do it. I was really a dumb of doing it, like on specializing on it, although my then boss, probably it was him who told me about pelvic floor physio. He suggested that it becomes trendy and it's a very important part of physiotherapy and maybe I should consider it, but honestly, I did not. I did not care. I was happy with my musculoskeletal stuff and I was happy with my Pilates. Until one beautiful day, I became pregnant with my first son. And even then, I was not that much interested in pelvic floor physiotherapy. However, I already had the whole bunch of pregnancy issues that can be addressed by pelvic floor physio, because I also don't work only exclusively with pelvic floors. I also work with pregnant women and postpartum rehabilitation. I had pubic symphysis pain, I had low back pain, and I generally had problems moving a lot, although I was teaching Pilates until 38 weeks of pregnancy, partially demonstrating, partially kind of talking and giving instructions. I still was in quite a lot of pain. I did some birth preparation, but all that birth preparation was about contractions, breathing, a little bit on position, but I don't remember specifically putting any emphasis on what happens to your pelvic floor, how it is related to your birth experience, what's going to happen after. All we talk about after was baby sleeping pattern, a little bit of the mood of the mother that might happen after birth, feeding, and so on. So baby carrying things. But I still, to this day, that my older son is 10 years old, see a lot. There is a lot of preparation for the mother for the birth. Not so much around pelvic floor, although it's a very important part in the birth. And then the postpartum prep is always the baby carrying thing. There is starting to become a little bit more trendy to talk about the psychological health of the mother and of the father as well, of the couple. Still, there is very little on what's happening to your pelvic floor. Or if there is like, yeah, do some Kegels after you give birth. All right, thanks. That's my due date approach. I gave birth to my first child, vaginal delivery. I delivered him in a squat thanks to my great gynecologist who asked me to go into the squat position, and I have another full video coming onto the birthing position. This is when the train hit the wall on the full speed. I gave birth to my child. I had stitches. I was in so much pain. I was in pain, waist below. I did not know what to do with this pain. I didn't know what to do with the stitches. I didn't know that there should be any kind of recovery happening. I didn't know about breathing exercises. I didn't know how to place myself. Should I walk? Should I rest? Should I get up? Should I lay down? I started to walk quite early with my son, pushing through the pain, hoping that if I ignore the pain will ignore me. Don't. And just hoping that things will slowly go by themselves. And of course they didn't. By 6 weeks after birth of my first child, I thought like, it's time to lose baby weight. Oh, another great myth in my head that I need to start to lose baby weight 6 weeks postpartum when I haven't slept even like in a 4-hour stretch. My adrenals were exhausted. My thyroid was probably giving up already because now I have diagnosis of Hashimoto. My pelvic floor was still in pain. I still had those stitches. They healed nicely. I didn't have any problems with that, but I was absolutely terrified even to think about what happens down there. And also hemorrhoids. I started to run immediately after 6 weeks. Fast running, walking. Fast running, walking. It was painful. It was tiring. But for some reason I thought, it's gonna be okay, I'm gonna push through it. So my pelvic floor, that was just, undergone quite a bit of a trauma, let's say, was absolutely not ready for anything on that. And on top of that, I was doing it late at night when I could leave the baby with his father. Very big mistake, because I did not prioritize rest. I prioritized in my head that I had to do that baby weight loss, whatever. Baby was growing, things kind of got better. First postpartum sex was a disaster. I'm telling you as it is, and this is what also happens with many moms. Again, totally unprepared, not knowing what I'm doing. Let's just try it. Wow, hurts, disaster, stop it. Slowly things got better, and I attribute it also to the fact that I was quite young. I was 27. I just turned 27 when I gave birth to my first child. So I kind of healed by myself. I think the older you get, the healing process can slow down. Well, I just was first-time mother, and I just hope for the best, and the best probably happened, the best in that situation. As my child was growing, I started to kind of get a little bit more into postpartum rehab, because I started to do my Pilates and I saw this huge bulge on my belly. I did not have diastasis recti, abdominal separation, that I had no idea about back then, but I did have poor deep abdominal controls. And I just thought that I'm just gonna go back as I was, having my 6-packs as I had them before the birth. And that was not the case. It's not that I was striving for a 6-pack, but every time I did some abdominals or I did some plank, things were just bulging out. I couldn't control my deep abdominals, and of course I was not engaging my pelvic floor. So this is the time when I started to kind of dive more into research about pelvic floor physiotherapy. And by the time my older son turned 1, I have subscribed myself onto the course of POGP, which is Pelvic and Obstetrics Physiotherapy and Gynecology. I think I said it correctly. In UK. This was my first travel without my son abroad. I went for some days to start my training, and we did intravaginal assessments in that course. And for me it was like, oof, you actually get into people's vagina to check their muscles, and they have muscles there. And then all these women that already had some experiences, they had birth, some of them were menopausal, some of them had pre-bad tears or cuts, or all these experiences around their pelvic floor. And you were like, wow, I'm not the only one actually here. So this is where my journey started. Now, how did I practice? As I came back from my training, I obviously had to start somewhere. I had to practice to do intravaginal assessment, because for me, to getting into people's vagina was quite of a thing. You know, I wasn't 100% comfortable with it. Let's put it that way. What did I do? I texted all my friends that knew me. Hey guys, I did this course. Come over. I'll check your vagina. I still remember my very first patient. She's a friend of mine, and she resides here in Cyprus, and I really appreciate you for coming here. If you watch this video, thank you very much. You probably know who you are. I will not I will not say the name. And then again, friends were coming, so first, second, third time I got more comfortable with the things. For now, for me, it's second nature to assess people intravaginally, intrarectal. After that, 2 years later, I had my second son, and I knew way better than that. I knew how to push correctly during labor. I knew what to do and not to do with my pelvic floor after birth. I knew what to do and what not to do with my perineal scars. I knew what to do and not to do with my activities, exercises I should be doing. It still was kind of on a basic level understanding, but it was way more better than it was first time. My recovery was much quicker, way less painful. Things were much better. And then when my second son turned 6 or 7 months, I went for another course, which was on a prolapse, and then another course, intrarectal assessment. So I kind of started to develop my practice and help women here in Cyprus to deal with their pelvic floor conditions, because I believe that this is a very important part of your womanhood, of your life, of your manhood as well, because I'm now working with males as well. And when things are not right down there, it can affect your life and quality of life in a major ways. So I'm still here, I'm still in Cyprus. I'm practicing here in Nicosia, in the capital, as well as I do some online consultations. These are very feasible options for pelvic floor physiotherapy when you don't have access to actual therapists. I still love and enjoy what I do, and I try to see things holistically. It's not about what's happened between your knees and your navel. It's your whole lifestyle, it's your whole health. Different conditions can happen, endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, and so on. So yeah, that was my story in a short on how I got into pelvic floor physiotherapy. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you think about. Did you have ever physiotherapy for your pelvic floor? Do you think it's useful? You considering it? You never heard about it? First time you hear about it? And thank you for watching. We'll see you back very soon. Bye.